So now you're in midlife. Now what? Where are the guardians and the mentors and the sort of soothsayers to welcome you into this time of life and to show you the way and to break it down nicely for you as to what to expect? Probably nowhere. You sort of tumbled in all hot and sweaty and bothered, and you don't know what your next steps should be. So on today's video, I'm taking you through at least 5 breakout points every midlife woman should know. So let's get. My name is Pamela Sylvan, and I'm your host on today's episode of Natural Mojo, the premier channel for vibrancy in your midlife and beyond. Anyways, like I said, who are these people, or where are these people that are to take you into the next exciting part of your life? And I know it doesn't feel very exciting right now because most likely you weren't prepared for midlife. Any talk of midlife usually centered on 1, a crisis, 2, menopause, both which are things that were dealt with in secrecy and you hid from, either in shame, guilt, pain, or sweats. So I want to sort of introduce to you the fact that it doesn't have to be that way. With a little planning, a little forward momentum, and some support, your midlife years and beyond in your second and third act can very well be the best time of your life. So let's go into point number 1. Self-care. We hear about this a lot, self-care, and for the most part we think it's about going to get a really great massage or maybe do a mani-pedi. Nothing wrong with these things, but I think self-care really speaks more to, at this time of life, about our vibrancy level. How much vitality and energy do we still have? I mean, we worked hard all of our lives and might have just come through a very messy middle, meaning maybe children have gone away, you've come through a divorce or separation or a great loss, or you maybe have lost your parents. Either way, it's now time to onboard critical self-care. This is just critical. I think all 5 points I'm introducing today are critical at this point because maybe we didn't have a lot of time to think about these things on our behalf. So now is the time. What type of self-care are you now onboarding for yourself? As for myself, I've had many responsibility to face during the early part of my midlife journey. My mother was ill, and I had just stepped out of a long-term marriage, and there was just all these things tumbling all around me, and I just couldn't find time to take care of myself. I just didn't have the hours of the day, and by the time everything was over for the day, I was just exhausted and I just wanted to numb out. So I had to find a way to take care of myself, because what I recognized was, with all the other people surrounding me, I was responsible. I'm all I really had at the end of the day. So it was about what type of care did I need, physically, emotionally, spiritually, that I need to start working through and making sure it was an integral part of my day. So where are you lacking in your self-care? You might have to sit down and make a list. Where have you forgotten about yourself? Is it taking care of your numbers? Have you gone to the doctor lately for a checkup? Have you looked at your diet? Maybe there are dietary things that you can change up to make sure you're well hydrated, you're getting the proper nutrients. And what about sleep? Are you sleeping? And in midlife, our sleep is cut drastically short because of night sweats and irritability and a host of other issues that pop up for ourselves at this time. So it might be a really great idea to sit down and maybe even make notes and ask yourself, where are you lacking in your self-care, and start to put together a self-care plan. That's right. Just like everything else you plan for, create your self-care plan so you know specifically for you what you need to start working towards, okay? Number 2 is one that most people, they don't even think about it, or if they think about it, they go into automatic dread. And this is about your finances and the state of your finances. And do you have enough for this time of your life heading into the later part of your years on this planet? Have you saved money? Have you taken care of long-term care options? Like, what is it around your financial situation that you have yet to still put your eyes on and your mind on? And I know a lot of women, especially if they've been in long-term situations with a husband, for instance, or another partner, for instance, you might have given the reins over to that person because historically women didn't want to think about money. They handed it over to the sort of more dominant person in the relationship to handle and take care of for them. But it's our responsibility to onboard our own financial situation and learn about financial matters and learn financial literacy so we understand how things are being affected in our lives around money, how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to share money, how to make sure that we have enough for the later part of our years when our earning potential begins to dwindle. Have we thought about that? And I really want to focus in and hone in on the long-term care options. Who will be there for you when you are no longer able to take care of yourself? Do you have a plan in place for that? Will you have children that will be on board to think about that? What about siblings? Will you be in a care home? I mean, we don't think about this when we're running around out there in life and we still have all our senses around about us, and our mobility is not yet affected. We think it'll never change, but it will change. Is there a plan in place for when things do eventually change? Something to think about, isn't it? So let's move in to number 3. This is a time, midlife is a time to embrace change and the reinvention process. A lot of women fear, you're no longer young, so no one is looking at you. You're now placed on the shelf. Your baby making years are over, and you're now invisible for the most part. It doesn't have to be. So this is a wonderful time. At least this is how I have come to look at it. This is a wonderful time of my life. A lot of the responsibilities I had in my earlier years are no longer with me. I'm not the same kind of mother anymore. I am now able to make choices I wasn't able to make earlier on in my days, or earlier on in my life, for instance. I am on the outside of a marriage now. Although I do have a long-term partner, I am now my own person, finally. I now have the ability to embrace adventure, embrace decisions, embrace my curiosity, embrace a lot of things that I was very fearful to embrace before. And the whole aspect of reinvention is just wildly exhilarating to me, and it should be wildly exhilarating to you. You're a mature person now. You may have a little bit of money stashed away. Who knows what your situation is, whether, don't let money or not having money be the thorn that keeps you from experiencing yourself in your life differently. You now have the opportunity to go out there and say who you are, and use your voice, and use your mind, and create, and to share, and to mentor, and to thrive in so many different ways that you didn't deem possible before. This is an opportunity to dive deep in and to really get to know yourself in ways that you were either didn't have the time for, or you were too fearful to investigate. Now is the time to investigate trends for yourself. Maybe it's a new style, new hair. Maybe you want to change your body composition. Maybe you want to improve your skincare. Maybe you want to travel. There's just so many options. Again, like the self-care plan that I advocated earlier, here is another plan that you can tack on to the back of the self-care plan, which to me is still self-care. How you want this part of your life to be and to look. What is your midlife vibe? What is the vibrancy aspects that you want to trigger and onboard? Now is the time for you to start doing that. So make a plan. Do you hear the theme here? Making a plan, writing it down, write the vision, create the vision for yourself. Okay? So let's move into the next point. Midlife is a wonderful time to prioritize your mental health and well-being. Again, we have come through so much, and a lot of us, especially as women, tend to hide how we are when people ask us, how are you? We quickly move into that pat answer, which is, fine, I'm okay. We shoulder such a burden of emotional being. We have our good girlfriends that we may rant with, and we may spill the beans. For the most part, we try to live our lives in a very stoic outlook. It's how we were brought up to be. Don't be too emotional, they told us. Always look pleasant, they said. So that's what we did. And as we raised children, or maybe we're now helping raise grandchildren, we have a lot on us, and we don't look to our own well-being. And again, this is all part of that whole self-care piece. I think this whole video really is about self-care, but at a deeper level. It's time for us. This is our time of our life. We've nurtured everybody else in the earlier parts, our children, our parents, for the most part. You still may be going through that in some form or fashion, and those of you have already passed through. Either way, it's your time to look after you, because think about this. If you don't look after you and you fall ill and your numbers start getting all out of range, who is there for you? How are you going to be there for anybody? How are you going to be there for yourself? This is the time as you age to make sure that you are well, that your mental health is there. Again, something that we don't look to, because again, it has been stigmatized in the past that we don't want anything to be going on up here that might put us in a bad situation socially, right? But more and more we're opening up to the threshold of what it is to have mental health issues, and there's a plethora of things under that mental health banner. So if you need to go and get yourself diagnosed because you think something might be off, like depression or ADHD might be an issue, or something might be going on with you, go check it out. There is no shame in this. There is no guilt in this. Drop all of that and take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to take care of you. And I know a lot of women at this time also go through things like empty nest syndrome. Yes, the fathers do too, but we women take it on in a particular way. I mean, after all, our babies are no longer with us. And that's a hard one for many women to take on, and they fall into a depression, and they might be doing addictive things like over drinking or overspending or watching too much TV, all which again goes against your mental health and your well-being. Okay, physically as well. I mean, the weight might start to get back on because we're trying to soothe ourselves during these times. So become aware of where you might be on the scale of things in the space, and especially during this time of your life, and get the support you need. There's no shame in this. We all try to skirt that shame. There is no shame in asking for help, so get the help you need. Okay, so before we move into number 5, I invite you to visit me at mojoresources.ca, and there is a handout there, a download there called What If, and it's the first part of really diving into who you are and getting to know yourself better. And to answer these questions, they're not a lot of questions, but they're great journaling prompts, or just to get you thinking about some things that you may not have had an opportunity to ask yourself before. So just visit me at mojoresources.ca and start asking yourself those deep dive questions. Okay, let's move in to number 5. Number 5 is to cultivate meaningful relationships. And women, we are very good at that. We are all about, the girls' night out, getting community, your BFFs, all of that type of thing. We know how to do this. But as we grow older, we somehow grow apart from our groups, and or we start losing people because, well, they just start to age out and we lose them through, the process of life. So look for groups, look for women's circles. They're being formed everywhere now. Look for like-minded people and like-minded energies that are able to help pull you through this very interesting and for some very challenging time of their life. One of the things I really hope to change out there for women is to come together and initiate them through this part of their life, because we become the forgotten members of society, don't we? That whole invisibility factor really ramps up at this time because we're, again, our sexuality is, in certain eyes, are lessening. We're no longer as desirable looking as some would like us to be. And we begin to believe those stories about ourselves, and that's where a lot of the depression and maybe loneliness might even come in. So I think it's about initiating ourselves into what it means to be going into midlife and beyond, and the wisdom and the energy that we might have curtailed before is now a time to unleash and really take hold of this time of life. So look for groups and or support groups that can help you really thrive and vibe and come alive, because now is your time. And as the Mojomaker, that is part of my message. As a vibrancy and energy coach, it's really about helping you understand how you can light that fire and really break open in the way that I know that you can. Okay, so all these 5 points, whether it be self-care, financial, embracing change and reinvention, prioritizing mental and emotional well-being, and cultivating supportive relationships, all these are 5 things I believe every woman heading into their midlife or in their midlife already should be incredibly aware of, and to understand how to plug into the resources and the support that you need to ensure that you just don't disappear at this time of life, or you don't sit in isolation and depression, or to think that there's something wrong with you, especially around the topic of menopause, whether you be perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, and what that may all mean and look like for you. We all go through and experience it differently. So to understand your body and to get the answers to what you need to make sure that you have a smoother sailing through than you normally otherwise would have. Okay, so there you have it today. It's short and succinct, but at least it gives you something to look out for and to start creating a plan for, so you're not just whittling away or wasting away or disappearing altogether, not knowing how you can be of service to yourself. Midlife is a time to unleash, to open up, and be that woman that you knew that you always could be. Again, my name is Pamela, Sylvan, the Mojomaker, and you can follow me at mojoresources.ca, and go out there and start pulling together the information you need to thrive. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again. All right, bye-bye.